Hey everyone, Mark here with your playlist for June 2019. Let's kick things off with this. So, Cadence of Hyrule is an interesting game. It starts with Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is a rhythm-based roguelike. In that game, you must move to the beat of the music. It's all about remembering the enemy's dance patterns and then outsmarting them by avoiding their swipes and lunging in for the attack. Now, when developer Brace Yourself Games wanted to port the game to Switch, it asked Nintendo if it could put some Zelda stuff in as DLC. And Nintendo was like, yeah, you know what? Why don't you just make an entire Zelda-themed sequel? And here we are. Now this is just pretty awesome. The art style, which was made in part by the Sonic Mania artists, looks incredible. It's like some long-lost Zelda game from a Game Boy Advance sequel that never came out. And the music, which is by Super Meat Boy composer Danny Baranowski, is brilliant as it pulls from so many different Zelda games. The Link's Awakening remixes just make my heart swell. And the gameplay is... well, here's the thing. I have zero musical talent whatsoever. Like, the bit in my brain that governs rhythm is just broken. So the thought of having to simultaneously strategize my way around enemy encounters and also play to the beat of a song, that just ain't gonna work. Luckily for me though, the game's got a mode that removes the music stuff entirely. It turns it into super hot, really, where you have infinite time to consider your next move because the enemies only move when you do. And I'm finding that really quite fun. It becomes this puzzle game about which move is the best one to make. And it reminds me of that great iOS game, Hoplite. And this is really interesting because of my work on accessibility and assist modes in games. Playing Cadence of Hyrule without the, well, cadence is obviously going against everything the game is about, but I'm really glad this mode is in the game or else I wouldn't have gotten to play it. So thumbs up for accessibility. The game's also doing some interesting stuff with permadeath and random generation, and so I'm definitely considering delving in deeper, considering my work on Zelda dungeons and world maps. So ultimately, if you're into Zelda at all, you definitely have to check this one out. It's cool, it's weird, it's different, it's fun. Okay, next up is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This one comes from Koji Igarashi, who was the lead dude on Castlevania Symphony of the Night and a few of the handheld Castlevania games. He left Konami ages ago, but then he set up a Kickstarter to crowdfund a spiritual successor to those old Castlevania games, and it's finally out. This is a classic Metroidvania through and through with an interconnected world map, locks and keys, new abilities and so on. And it's got the Castlevania-style RPG stuff with levels, equipable gear, and stats. It pulls from all sorts of games from the Castlevania series as well. There's a shard mechanic where defeated enemies will give you their powers, which comes straight out of Castlevania Aria of Sorrow on the GBA. Overall, the game's pretty good. It's not doing anything crazy new for the genre, and so if you've, I don't know, played a crap load of Metroidvanias in the past few months, it might feel like a bit of a retread. But the basics are good, the world map is already pretty interesting to explore, and some of the character designs are sharp. There's certainly a lot of story though, and it's just utter nonsense. So if you're anything like me, prepare to hit that skip button a whole bunch. Okay, I've really got to stop confusing Outer Wilds with The Outer Worlds. Outer Wilds, The Outer Worlds. Outer Wilds, The Outer Worlds. Okay, I've got it. I haven't got it. I'll never get it. Outer Wilds is an adventure game where you try to figure out the secrets and stories of a tiny solar system as quickly as you can, before a supernova wipes everything out in 22 minutes. At that point, you restart time and start from scratch, so there are tastes of Majora's Mask and Hitman and Minute and whatnot. The idea is that you can explore any planet you like, but many will prove inaccessible or hard to explore. However, clues found on other planets will help you progress further on those first planets. I've seen people compare it to Toki-Tori 2 in how it's an information-based Metroidvania, an Infovania, if you will, except I won't because that's dumb. But the idea is, instead of finding abilities, you just sort of learn information, and that's your key. And this just sounds so much up my alley, and I really want to like this game, and yet, so far, I've been unable to get hooked into this damn thing. The mazy cave interiors are just not that much fun to explore, the central mystery is not grabbing me, and I've yet to have one of those aha moments where you see what makes the game so magical. I think I might just have to start this one from scratch because I've missed something along the way and it's just not really working, and I want to play it. Everything suggests that this is my game, but it's just not clicking, and that's annoying. I've had a quick play of Super Mario Maker 2 these past few days. Just like before, this lets you make your own Mario-style platforming levels and then share them online. It's got bits and bobs from 5 different Mario games, and you can go nuts with enemies, hazards, gizmos, and terrain pieces. It's a bit tricky to make stages on Switch, I found. The Wii U version worked great because of the touchscreen and stylus, and the way you could make the levels on the gamepad and then test them on the TV. For the Switch version, you either need to make levels with the controller, which is really fiddly, or on the touchscreen, which just isn't as precise when you don't have a stylus. And swapping between the touchscreen and the TV is a faff. You've got to put it in the dock and take out the dock, oh my god. So that's a shame. It's a game that really, really worked on Wii U, and it's just a bit of an awkward fit on Switch. Still, one of the cool things in this game is it's got a 100 level story mode, which means lots and lots of levels from Nintendo. I mean, you've basically just got yourself a new Mario platformer. One stage I played, which has you entering pipes to flip the world upside down, really reminded me of a level I made for Super Mario Maker 1 called Pipe Flip Airship. So that was cool to see and surreal and weird. I mean, I'm not saying Nintendo copied me or anything, but I mean, they did put my level in one of their Nintendo Directs, so someone there played it and conspiracy. No, I'm just joking. I'm going to have to wait and see what people make with this thing, but the new objects in the game, like the swinging crane arm and the snake block and the bouncers, promise really creative ideas. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Mario Maker 2 in regards to Game Maker's Toolkit, but there'll be something, I'm sure. And then finally, I want to just talk very briefly about the Hitman 2 DLC. So this one is set in New York in a bank, which is a great idea for a Hitman level. It naturally has areas for the public, and then areas that are specific to certain jobs, like investment bankers and security guards and so on. And of course, you get the heavily guarded bank vault itself. There's only one target in this map, and she mostly sticks to her office on the top floor. So far, I've managed to make her fall out of a window, but I'm looking forward to figuring out more kills. The other objective involves, naturally, breaking into the bank. This one can be done in multiple ways, but I haven't figured out any of them just yet. Like I say, I haven't spent too much time on this, but I'd be remiss not to give it a nod, given how much I've talked about Hitman on the channel. So if you dug Hitman 2 and you want more stages, then hey, here's a new stage. Knock yourself out. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in July.